You think you know the person you sleep beside. You think the warmth you feel is shared. The life you've built together rests on solid ground. You trace the lines of their face in the dim morning light and believe you see them. But what if it's all a mask? What if the foundation isn't just cracked, but deliberately hollowed out beneath your feet? I'm here to tell you about my husband, the man I promised my life to, the man who, I recently discovered, constructed our entire reality on a bedrock of lies so profound, so audacious. It makes my head spin just trying to comprehend it. He wasn't just ashamed of me. Oh, that was the tip of the iceberg, the polite, almost quaint little lie that hid the monster lurking beneath. The truth involves secrets that span continents, identities carefully fractured, and a betrayal that didn't just break my heart, it threatens to erase my past. Buckle up, Reddit. This isn't just a story about marital strife. This is about uncovering a phantom life, and the chilling realization that the man I loved might never have truly existed at all. Okay, right. Where do I even start? My hands are still shaking, typing this. Throwaway account, obviously. My husband, let's call him Liam, 38 million. He glances at Reddit sometimes, mostly to scoff at relationship forums like this one. The irony is a physical ache in my chest. I'm Clara. 7 years married, 10 years together. Or so I thought. Liam is a star architect, partner at a firm whose name is whispered in reverent tones in certain circles. Glass towers, minimalist aesthetics, awards lining his sleek office shelves. He radiates success like expensive cologne. We lived in one of those apartments that look like a magazine spread, all clean lines, muted colors, and a view that costs more than my parents' entire mortgage. To the outside world, we were golden. The power couple. Blessed, or whatever nauseating hashtag people use. And then there's me. I'm the messy contrast. I own and run Reloved Relics, a business dedicated to restoring antique furniture. My workshop is my haven, a chaotic, beautiful space in a gritty warehouse district. It smells perpetually of turpentine, aged wood, and lemon oil polish. I spend my days coaxing history back to life, my hands stained with varnish, my clothes usually dusted with sawdust. It's demanding, intricate work, part art, part science, part sheer stubbornness. It doesn't rake in Liam's kind of money, but it's mine. Built from scratch, respected by people who understand craftsmanship, and it fills a part of my soul Liam's world could never touch. When we first met, this contrast seemed like our thing, our charming dynamic. He'd visit the workshop, marveling at the transformation of a decrepit chair into a gleaming piece of history. "You're an alchemist, Clara," he'd say, his eyes shining with what I mistook for genuine admiration. He loved telling people I had the touch, that I could resurrect beauty. He made my dusty, practical passion sound like a romantic calling. It felt incredible, like he saw the real me, the sawdust and all, and loved it. The change wasn't a sudden storm, it was rising damp, creeping, insidious, easy to ignore until the walls are crumbling. It began, as these things often do, with social obligations in his world. The galas, the client dinners, the endless networking events where wives were expected to be silent, smiling accessories. I went, initially. Scrubbed my hands raw, poured myself into dresses that felt alien, and tried to engage in conversations about offshore accounts or summering in the Hamptons, while my mind was on the tricky inlay of a Georgian secretaire. I felt like a poorly translated sentence, grammatically correct, but awkward and out of place. Slowly, subtly, I was edited out. "Darling, honestly, this fundraiser is going to be deathly dull. All firm politics. You'd have more fun finishing that marquetry. This potential client is notoriously difficult. I need laser focus tonight. No distractions, okay? You look exhausted, sweetheart. Stay home, put your feet up. You deserve it after battling that stubborn veneer all week." And I accepted it, gratefully even. He worked insane hours. His world was high pressure. My workshop did leave me physically drained. He was being thoughtful, right? Protecting me from boredom, saving me from uncomfortable scrutiny. I told myself I preferred my quiet evenings anyway, the company of old wood and familiar tools. Then came the interactions with his family, the Prestons. Think old world aristocracy meets modern corporate ruthlessness. His mother, Beatrice, could curdle milk with a single arched eyebrow. His father, Arthur, exuded a quiet judgment that felt heavier than any overt criticism. They existed in a world of inherited privilege and unspoken rules I constantly seemed to transgress. Furniture restoration? Beatrice once mused, her gaze lingering on a fleck of paint I'd missed under my fingernail. How artisanal. Does it keep you busy, dear? The implication being, what a peculiar, slightly grubby little hobby for someone associated with our son. Liam was always my buffer, my knight in shining, bespoke armor. Clara's work is highly sought after, Mother. She consults for museums, you know. A slight exaggeration. I'd done one small project for a local museum. He'd deftly pivot conversations, highlighting the value of the antiques, the prestige of certain pieces, translating my passion into their language of status and investment. He'd find reasons for me to be conveniently unavailable for family events. A sudden, urgent commission, a delivery crisis. Terribly sorry, Arthur, Clara's completely snowed under with the Davenport restoration. The Davenports were his clients, naturally. I saw it as him shielding me, protecting my sensitive, artistic soul from their casual snobbery. I felt cherished, defended. What a fool I was. The first crack that truly resonated, the one that sent a tremor through my carefully constructed reality, happened about 18 months ago. Liam was nominated for, and won, a very prestigious international architecture prize. The ceremony was in Milan, a huge, glittering affair. "Milan, how exciting!" I exclaimed, already mentally planning my outfit, imagining the pride of seeing him on that stage. Liam shifted uncomfortably. "Yeah, it's amazing." He paused, avoiding my eyes. "Listen, Clara, about the ceremony. The firm is handling all the arrangements and they're being incredibly strict. It's partners and key international stakeholders only. Apparently, the venue capacity is tighter than expected." My stomach plummeted. Tighter than expected for a major awards gala in Milan? The excuse felt thin, papery. "But Liam, this is huge. I want to be there." "I know, darling, I know," he said, wrapping his arms around me, his voice smooth as silk. "And I want you there more than anything. But you know how political these things are. It's all about maximizing face time with the right people. Having spouses there, it just complicates the networking dynamics. We'll have our own Milanese celebration, I promise. A romantic weekend, just for us after the circus is over." He painted such a vivid picture of tedious corporate maneuvering, of backslapping and deal-making, that I reluctantly conceded. I felt a pang of disappointment, sharp and cold, but I pushed it down. Don't be difficult, I told myself. Support him. The night of the gala, I stayed up late, nursing a glass of wine, waiting for the photos to appear online. When they did, my breath caught in my throat. There was Liam, accepting his award, looking like a movie star. And there was his firm's table. Partners, stakeholders, and their wives. Gleaming, beautifully dressed wives. Every single married partner had their spouse beside them. There was even an empty chair positioned awkwardly near Liam. My chair, staring accusingly from across the globe. The lie wasn't just a lie, it was a public erasure. He hadn't just excluded me, he'd actively created a space for me, and then left it empty for the world to see. Why? The effort involved seemed immense. Why not just tell me he didn't want me there? The romantic weekend in Milan never materialized, of course. There was always some excuse. That empty chair haunted me. It became a symbol. I started seeing things, really seeing them. The digital ghost. His online presence was pristine, professional. LinkedIn showcased his projects. Instagram featured stunning architectural shots. Landscapes from his travels, alone, apparently. even carefully curated pictures with colleagues at site launches. Me? I didn't exist. Not a single tagged photo, not a mention, not even a blurry background appearance. When I gently probed, he'd wave it away. Trying to maintain a professional boundary, babe, you understand? Yet, his parents featured prominently. The downgrade, running into his associates, became excruciating. "This is Clara," he'd say, a slight rush to his voice. Never, "my wife." Sometimes, "my partner." Once, horrifyingly, when bumping into a major client and his wife at the theater, he introduced me as, "my friend, Clara." Friend. I felt myself shrink, reduced to a casual acquaintance. He never ever mentioned reloved relics. If cornered, it was always vague. Clara's involved in heritage preservation. It sounded like I volunteered at the National Trust. The workshop exile. The place he once called my magic den became forbidden territory. Suddenly he developed allergies to dust, claimed the commute was a nightmare, said the smell of solvents gave him headaches. He hadn't stepped inside for years, preferring to meet somewhere neutral downtown. A respected design magazine did a small feature on artisans reviving traditional crafts. They included a beautiful photo of me in my workshop and praised Reloved Relics for its authentic craftsmanship. I was over the moon, eager to share it with Liam. He glanced at it, his smile strained. "That's great, Clara. Really, just maybe keep a lower profile? This kind of exposure can sometimes attract unwelcome elements." Unwelcome elements? To my furniture restoration business? It made no sense. The pieces were forming a picture I didn't want to see. He wasn't just compartmentalizing. He was systematically minimizing, sanitizing, almost erasing my existence from his professional and public life. The shame wasn't just a passive feeling. It was an active strategy. He was ashamed of my hands-on, unglamorous, real-world job. Ashamed of me. But why marry me? Why pretend for so long? What could possibly motivate such deep-seated, long-term deception? The answer didn't just arrive. It detonated, leveling everything I thought I knew. It happened 3 months ago. Liam was supposedly on a crucial business trip to Singapore, finalizing details for a new luxury hotel project. He'd been gone almost a week. I was in the workshop late one evening, meticulously applying gold leaf to a restored mirror frame, lost in the focus of the work. My phone buzzed, an unknown number, international prefix. Normally, I'd ignore it, assuming spam. But a strange premonition made me answer. "Is this Clara Preston?" A woman's voice, tight with distress, unfamiliar accent. "Speaking. Who's this?" My heart gave a sudden hard thump. "My name is Anya Sharma. I'm calling from Singapore. It's about Liam." Ice flooded my veins. This was it. The affair. The late nights, the constant travel, the secrecy. It all made sense now. "Okay," I managed, my voice barely audible over the pounding in my ears. "What about him?" "He's here, in Singapore," she said, her voice trembling. "He was meant to fly back yesterday, but... Clara, there was an incident." "Incident? What incident?" Panic clawed at my throat. "Is he hurt? What happened?" "He collapsed," Anya said, the words catching. "At his hotel. They rushed him to the hospital. Possible cardiac event. They said maybe stress. He's stable. He's awake now. But they're keeping him." A dizzying wave of relief washed over me, immediately followed by confusion. "Okay. Thank God. Which hospital? I need to get there. I need to book a flight right now." A silence stretched across the line, heavy and suffocating. "Clara," Anya said finally, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "That's why I'm calling. When the hospital staff asked for his emergency contact, his next of kin, he didn't give them your name." "What? Who did he give?" "He gave them mine," she said, the words falling like stones. "He gave them his wife's name." The gold leaf fluttered from my fingers. The workshop seemed to tilt. "His... wife?" I echoed stupidly. "But I'm his wife." Anya let out a sound that was half sob, half strangled gasp. No, she whispered. I'm Anya Preston. Liam and we've been married for 12 years. 12 years. The number slammed into me, knocking the air from my lungs. We'd been married 7. Together, 10. It was impossible. The dates didn't fit. The world didn't fit. No, that can't be right, I stammered, sinking onto a nearby stool. The smell of wood polish, suddenly nauseating. We got married 7 years ago, June 14th, City Hall, then the reception at the Orangery. Liam and I were married in Jaipur, Anya interrupted, her voice gaining a chilling clarity. A large, traditional wedding. August 2nd, 12 years ago. We lived together in London. He was transferred to your city for a major firm project 7 years ago. He travels constantly for work, but London was our home base. Clara, we have children. Children. The word hung in the air, monstrous. Children? 2, she confirmed, her voice breaking. A son, he's 9, and a daughter, she just turned 6. My mind fractured. This wasn't just shame. This wasn't just an affair. This was a parallel life. Bigamy. A carefully constructed lie spanning years, continents, and involving innocent children. How did you get my number? I asked, the question feeling absurdly practical in the face of such monumental deceit. When Liam woke up, Anya explained, her voice thick with unshed tears, he was confused, kept asking for Clara. The nurses had my name down. He got agitated, mentioned a workshop, reloved relics. He has your number saved in his phone under C, Antique Restoration Lead. I assumed you were a work contact he was stressed about, but he wouldn't let it go. He seemed desperate to reach you, saying things that made no sense in the context of our life. So, tonight, while he was sedated, I searched your name, your business. I found articles, your website, pictures of you together from years ago, at events he told me he attended alone. And then, I found the announcement, your wedding announcement. 7 years ago. The horrifying tapestry unspooled. The separate lives weren't sequential, they were simultaneous. The business trips weren't just business. His social media blackout wasn't about privacy, it was about preventing cross-contamination between his 2 worlds. His vague introductions, his avoidance of my workshop, the empty chair in Milan, all calculated moves in a sickeningly complex game. His parents, their cool politeness, their subtle disapproval of me. Did they know? Were they complicit in hiding me from Anya, or her from me? His parents, I breathed. Beatrice and Arthur, do they know about me? Anya hesitated. I always felt they looked down on me. Our marriage was rushed. I wasn't from their background. Beatrice, especially, was always frosty. Liam always insisted on managing all communication with them. Now, oh God, Clara, did they know? Were they helping him? The shame he projected onto me, my job, my background, it was a smokescreen. The real shame, the real fear, was the potential implosion of his entire fabricated existence. My unsuitable life wasn't the problem. My existence as his second, secret wife was the catastrophe he was constantly trying to contain. He wasn't just managing perceptions, he was juggling realities. He told me the transfer 7 years ago was permanent, I said, feeling numb. A massive career step. Setting up the firm's new North American headquarters. He told me it was a 2-year assignment, Anya cried, the full weight of the deception clearly crashing down on her too. Then it became 3, then 5. Always some reason, some project delay, some indispensable role only he could fill. He flew back to London every 6 to 8 weeks, for his family, he said, for the children. 7 years, he moved to my city, swept me off my feet, married me, built a life with me. all while maintaining another wife and family thousands of miles away. The sophisticated vacations he meticulously planned, trips home to Anya and the kids, the crushing workload, the constant stress, not just architecture, the Herculean effort of being two different men in two different lives. Anya and I talked for hours that night, two women on opposite sides of the world, united by the same unbelievable betrayal. We compared timelines, excuses, Liam's carefully curated stories, his aversion to photos, his separate bank accounts, which now made horrifying sense, his insistence on specific holidays spent abroad for work, likely with her, versus others spent quietly at home with me. His parents' carefully neutral birthday cards addressed just to him. It was a masterclass in manipulation. He hadn't just been ashamed of my work, he'd weaponized its niche nature. My quiet life, my lack of connection to his elite circles, made me the perfect secret. I was easier to hide. My existence didn't ripple through his primary world. When the call finally ended, I was trembling violently, cocooned in the smell of wood dust and varnish, feeling utterly unreal. The betrayal was so vast, so complete, it felt less like heartbreak and more like annihilation. I didn't go to Singapore. Anya was there. His wife. The mother of his children. What claim did I have? I was a fiction he'd written into existence. I left the workshop, locked the door on my tangible reality, and checked into an anonymous hotel across town. I couldn't face our apartment, the minimalist cage built on maximalist lies. I turned off my phone, plunging myself into silence. Days later, the silence became unbearable. I switched the phone back on. It exploded. Missed calls, frantic texts, voicemails from Liam. Apologies, confusion, panic, then the admission. Clara, please answer the phone. Anya called you. I know you know. We need to talk. It's not what it looks like. It's so much more complicated. I love you, Clara. Please believe me, I love you. Love. The word was obscene. Then the emails started. Epic, rambling justifications poured into my inbox. Tales of family pressure forcing the marriage to Anya, feeling suffocated, meeting me and feeling truly seen for the first time, cowardice preventing him from ending things, ambition clouding his judgment, blaming everyone and everything except the fundamental flaw in his own character. Crucially, he admitted his parents knew everything from the beginning. They disapproved but saw me as a necessary temporary arrangement to solidify Liam's position in the new city, expecting him to eventually discard me once his career was secure. They actively helped maintain the charade, providing alibis, managing information, ensuring Anya and I never crossed paths, even virtually. Beatrice's disdain wasn't just snobbery, it was the cold calculation of protecting their son's fraudulent empire. He flew back 2 days ago, tracked me down to this sterile hotel room. Stood outside my door, looking like a ghost, pale, gaunt, eyes hollowed out with desperation. He begged me to let him in. I refused. I stood with my back pressed against the door, listening to his voice, distorted by the wood between us. There's nothing left to say, Liam. Clara, don't do this. Everything I built here with you, that was the real part. The only real part. Real? My voice dripped sarcasm, sharp and brittle. What's real, Liam? Lying to 2 women for over a decade? Having children you hide from one of them? Using your parents as accomplices in a massive fraud? Which part of that nightmare was real? I made mistakes. Horrible, unforgivable mistakes. But my feelings for you, Komen, they weren't a mistake. Anya. That was obligation. Duty. You were passion. Life. Don't you dare, I hissed, fury finally surging through the shock. Don't you dare try to romanticize this. You didn't choose me. You chose deceit. You were too weak to be honest with her, and too morally bankrupt to be honest with me. You used my life as your convenient escape hatch. Was any of it genuine? Did you ever look at a piece I restored and see anything other than a useful prop for your narrative? He broke down then, sobbing, pleading, promising the world. He'd divorce Anya tomorrow. He'd confess everything to his firm. Consequences be damned. He'd dedicate his life to making it up to me. But Reddit, how? How can trust, pulverized into dust, ever be reformed? Every memory is tainted. Every shared laugh, every intimate moment, every declaration of love is now suspect, potentially part of the performance. His shame was just a costume he wore to hide the abyss beneath. Anya and I exchange brief, numb texts. We are unwilling sisters in a sorority of betrayal. She's grappling with the wreckage in London, trying to shield her children, consulting lawyers. I have my own lawyer now. The word bigamy hangs heavy in the air. Is our marriage even legally valid? What about the apartment, the finances? My business, thank God, is solely in my name. My dusty, tangible, real sanctuary. Liam continues his siege via phone and email. He sounds utterly broken. A tiny, traitorous part of me remembers the man I thought he was and feels a pang of something like pity. But it's drowned by the tidal wave of his lies. He didn't just betray me. He fundamentally invalidated my reality for 7 years. He made me an unwitting accomplice in his crime. My workshop is the only place I feel remotely sane. The scent of sawdust, the solid feel of wood under my hands, the patient process of restoration. It's the antithesis of Liam's world of illusion. It's honest. It's real. So, what now, Reddit? This is catastrophic. He detonated 2 families, committed potential crimes, all fueled by some toxic cocktail of ambition, cowardice, and profound selfishness. He claims I was the real love, the real life. Can that possibly be true? Can anything real grow from such poisoned soil? Or was I just the supporting actress in his twisted drama, the one whose role was easier to conceal? I feel like I need to take a flamethrower to the last decade and walk away. But the sheer exhaustion is overwhelming. Heartbroken doesn't cover it. This is soul-level demolition. And the anger, the cold, quiet fury, it's terrifying. Initially thought husband Liam was ashamed of my hands-on antique restoration business, hiding me from his elite world. Discovered the horrifying truth. He's been living a double life for over a decade, married to another woman, Anya, in another country, with 2 children I never knew existed. His shame was a cover for his bigamy. His parents knew and helped him maintain the elaborate deception. He collapsed overseas, leading to the discovery. Now back, begging forgiveness, claiming I am his true love and our life was the real one. Our marriage is likely void. Potential legal ramifications loom. Utterly devastated, questioning every memory of the past 10 years. Don't know where to go from here. So, that's it. The grand illusion, shattered. Turns out the shame wasn't about sawdust under my nails. It was about the rot in his soul. Sometimes the truth doesn't illuminate, it incinerates. Thanks for letting me lay it all out. Maybe now I can start sorting through the ashes.